I just finished biking from San Francisco to LA. It's about 500 miles, 6 days. Stayed in combination of motels, friends' houses, and camping. So I wanted to do a gear review, just check out the setup. So the bike is Specialized Crux. It's a couple years old frame set model, carbon fiber. Got a combination smorgasbord of group set, so all Tiger cranks, GRX derailleur. This is a 105 derailleur, and then I don't know, Ultegra shifters up front. So for tires we're running 40 in the front and 38 in the back. That's just the biggest I could fit. It was pretty much all road, but there's like a lot of shit on the side of the highways and roads I was on, so I was like glad to have a little bit of a thicker tire. For the bag situation, what we've got going on here is this is 11 liters back here, 4 liters here, I don't know, maybe half a liter, 2 of these feed bags, which are a liter, maybe a liter and a half, and then, not sure how big it is, but my sleeping bag right here. So pretty, I guess, minimal setup as far as carrying capacity goes. I kind of had to max out all of the different compartments. Ideally, like, I wouldn't want these to be full from the get-go and like just put food in, but everything was pretty much full all the time. So in here, I basically had all the clothes I wasn't wearing, my bivvy, and pillow. Here's a sleeping pad. Got a hat strapped on here. And then here are some easier access items. So I had gloves, rain pants. I had some toiletries and the stakes for the bivvy. Tools, battery charger. Got a light jacket in here. Chain lube. Got a band for some of my pre-ride warm-up stuff. In this one, I've got my film camera, wallet, and AirPods, and sunglasses. And then the sleeping bag is just ski strapped onto the front. So for this setup, these two guys are waterproof. So the things that I put in here, if they couldn't get wet, I had to put them in a plastic bag or a dry bag. And then the sleeping bag inside of this is in a garbage bag. Not right now. And then so is the sleeping pad was also inside of a garbage bag inside of the stuff sack. Overall, pretty much everything worked out. The things I regretted that I didn't have were, I didn't have shorts, so I was just wearing my chamois all the time, which got a little gross by like day 3. I would have brought another pair of socks as well. So if we just unpack it real quick, get these guys off. Also, I got in here is my headlamp, which I was using as a rear tail light. So here's one item I didn't really want to skimp on. So this is like actually the jacket I wear skiing and doing other stuff in the mountains, but it's a thicker, basically alpine shell. And I knew it was gonna get rainy on this trip, so that's why I didn't want it. I have like a lighter rain jacket, but I like wanted to make sure I was gonna stay dry. So we've got a helmet hood, which is nice, and then a lot of pockets. Let's see, some Cheez-Its, great fuel, gloves. So from a burrito. So that's that. Ended up wearing this a lot throughout the second 2 days. So Tuesday and Wednesday, a lot of on and off rain. So I was kind of, and it's not that cold, so I was like changing outfits quite a bit. We got a puffy. So mainly wore this in the evenings, just because it was a little colder when I'm not moving. This is a great piece of gear. Neoprene socks. So these are like 2 millimeters, basically like a wetsuit. And I have like kind of weak feet because I got like mild frostbite skiing a couple of years ago, and so these kind of like allow me to stay warm even like once my feet get soaked, which happened the second 2 days because it was raining so much. Here we've got some thermal knee warmers, stuff sack with nothing in it. This is a great piece of gear here. Dishwashing gloves, keeping the hands dry in the rain. I only ended up using this one day. Like most of the time it was warm enough that like didn't matter that I got wet, but it was key when I did. Here's like a technical fleece or a base layer. Kind of didn't really need this. This was kind of warmer than I needed. Pillow for camping, also a luxury item. And here's the bivvy. It's a new thing I got for this trip. It's the Outdoor Research Helium. And that's it for the rear bag. In here, really not much to go over, just like standard repair kits, so like tire levers, some patches, and some chain tools. In here, these are the rain pants. I also got these for this trip. These are Gore-Tex Pack Light, so so this is like a lot, thinner layer of Gore-Tex than that rain jacket I was showing. But these kept me dry. Needed quite a bit actually. This was nice to have, just like a microfiber towel. So like when it did stop raining, I could dry things off and then pack it back into the dry bags. The one pair of underwear I had, some toiletries in here. I have some extra rolls of film and some toe warmers. So I didn't end up needing toe warmers, and some battery banks I had 3 battery banks that each had about 2 phone charges each on them. Here's another pair of gloves, a little bit warmer than the other pair. Another battery bank. So I had a bunch of plastic bags to keep things dry. This is the poles for the bivvy. And then here's extra water storage capability. So I had these 2 water bottles, which is pretty much all I needed. It's pretty humid here compared to Colorado, and there is relatively frequent enough stops. But I had an extra 2 liters of capacity here in case there's any area that like there wasn't a lot of resupply spots. This is probably the best item of clothing that I brought. Just like a really light wind shell layer. It's an Arc'teryx, kind of just a packable item. Bike lock, didn't really need this too much. I just kind of like put the bike by windows and kept an eye on it. This is not the lube I was using, but it's just a small lube bottle I had. It's I used a wet lube for this trip just because, like I said, I knew it was gonna rain, and this, the wet lube always just kind of seems to stay on a little bit better for trips like this. I think the chain gets a lot dirtier, but I'm probably gonna replace the chain after this anyways. Here's the sunglasses I had. Small dry bag from Osprey with my Pentax IQ Zoom. I took a few pictures on this trip. Honestly, like not a ton of photos. I brought 3 rolls of film, ended up just using 1. So a lot of days I was just trying to get through the trip. Overall, the setup was pretty good. Like I said, I would bring a pair of athletic shorts and maybe extra t-shirt to wear like after riding. I think I brought like 1 extra piece of clothing, which was that thermal base layer. And I think if I was gonna like do this a little bit more often, the pieces of gear that I would invest in getting a lighter setup for would be, I would want to do a smaller sleeping bag. this arrangement worked out pretty well, but just heavy and big. And then also I could get like a lighter rain jacket, you know, especially if I knew it wasn't going to rain as much. And then I kind of would like to have more capacity somewhere else. Like these do kind of get in the way of your knees sometimes when you're climbing or standing up. So if we were able to like move this capacity around maybe to the back or a bigger top tube bag, that could be beneficial. So yeah, I'm coming from, so this is the first time I've really done like a full bike packing setup. So like a lot of my knowledge of like kind of what to pack here is just like from some experience backpacking and doing longer bike rides where you don't need to have a full camping setup, but you kind of have to be ready for whatever. So, you know, overall not really that different than backpacking, but honestly I took a lot less pieces of gear in this setup than I would backpacking, just because the weight matters so much when you're climbing. And like I said, there's really not that much carrying capacity either. So 11 liters here, 4 liters here, 1, 2, 3 liters here, and then this is probably this is probably like 7 liters. You know, and like my backpacking setup is, my backpacking backpack is, I don't know, 65 liters, which I usually don't use all of that, but you know, there's a lot more room to carry excess gear. So yeah.